Political news in the run-up to the grand Lok Sabha. Let me start with the top headlines. 3 more opposition MPs suspended. Total suspensions now totaling to 146. Lok Sabha adjourned. Sanadai. India bloc protests, claims that democracy has been murdered, holding placards right outside the parliament. Amid the parliament stalemate, Prime Minister Modi tears into the India bloc, says opposition constantly attacking democracy. And Brij Bhushan's close aide Sanjay Singh gets top wrestling body post as the president of the wrestling body. Wrestlers protest. Sakshi Malik, Olympian, now declares that she's going to quit wrestling because Brij Bhushan's close aide has been made the president. Contentious CEC bill passed in the Lok Sabha. Government gets final say to appoint chief poll officer with a panel of the Prime Minister, Union Minister and the LOP. Poll strategist Prashant Kishor speaks exclusively to India Today, says the Congress must admit to its own failures to ensure India bloc stands a chance in 2024.
The problem is not that there is no better strategy to take on BJP. The problem is Congress doesn't want to accept that they are moribund and they need to do things differently.
Yeah. Another big setback for the DMK. Stalin Mantri K. Ponmudu sentenced to 3 years of jail term in illegal assets case. BJP hits out. The DMK is steep in corruption. Canada's big tonal shift bar at India. Trudeau says India's tone changed after US charges. Claims attacking Canada won't solve problems. All right, big news coming in. Army vehicle ambushed in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch. Army convoy has been ambushed. Casualties feared. A statement coming in from the army that encounters underway in Rajouri's Poonch. Contact established in Poonch on the number of casualties yet to be ascertained. We're waiting for the exact number to come in, but it is tragic news that's coming to fore. We hear some of the army men have been martyred. How many of them? Confirmation yet to come on that, but this is the army vehicle. In fact, an army vehicle in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch was ambushed by terror groups, and ultimately some of the army personnel have died. The encounter that's still underway in Rajouri's Poonch has been confirmed by the army itself in a statement that they've established contact for the moment. Sunil G. Bhatt joining us live for more on that. Sunil, please go on. Tell us a little more on this terror attack that's happened on our army personnel. An army vehicle was ambushed, and we hear multiple army personnel have been martyred.
Well, Nabila, yesterday the security forces got an input that there was presence of terrorists in the upper reaches of Poonch district in Dera Ki Gali area, and after that a massive search and cordon operation was launched. This evening, the security forces managed to establish contact with the terrorists. Unfortunately, an army vehicle was targeted by the terrorists. They fired at the army vehicle. The army has confirmed that the contact has been established with the terrorists, but as far as the injuries are concerned, there is no official word from the army yet. We are awaiting more information from the army as far as this, ambush is concerned. But in the recent past, we have seen that there has been an increase in terror activities in south of Pir Panjal region in Jammu and Kashmir, in the twin border districts of Rajouri and Poonch. And now a fierce encounter is on. Operation is underway, and we are awaiting more information from our sources in the security establishment. Nabila.
All right. The number of army men who've been killed is yet uncertain, but we hear that multiple deaths have been reported. Really tragic incident that's been reported from Rajouri Poonch, an area that is volatile. Sunil Ji Bhatt brings us those details. We're very closely tracking this very episode which has resulted in at least a few army personnel who've died. We're not giving you a confirmation, waiting for one from the army itself, but a statement from the army so far says that they've established contact in Poonch as the encounter still continues as I speak. Brij Bhushan's close aide gets the top wrestling body post, triggering a massive row among protesting wrestlers. Sakshi Malik, Olympian, has now decided to hang up her boots, announcing a dramatic retirement from wrestling because Brij Bhushan, the man who's been accused of sexual assault and multiple other allegations that have been made against him, probe is still underway. His close aide itself now been elected as the president. Here's a quick report.
Months of agitation against ex-WFI chief Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, and it all came down to tears for the protesting wrestlers. One of Brij Bhushan's own men, Sanjay Kumar Singh, emerged victorious on result day, sparking celebrations in the Brij Bhushan camp.
ये फेडरेशन अपने लिए नहीं चुनी जाती है, देश के खेल को बढ़ाने के लिए चुनी जाती है और मैं ये उम्मीद करता हूं कि 11 महीने के अंदर जो कुश्ती का नुकसान हुआ है, खेल की गतिविधि बंद है, नई फेडरेशन तुरंत इस गतिविधि कुश्ती की गतिविधि को शुरू करे और जो नुकसान हुआ है उसका भरपाई करे और ये मेरी जीत नहीं है, देश के पहलवानों की जीत है.
A huge setback for the wrestlers who made allegations of corruption and sexual assault against Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh and had vehemently opposed to Singh's candidature for the president's post, given his close ties with the ex-chief.
अगर प्रेसिडेंट ब्रिज भूषण जैसे आदमी जैसा ही रहता है, उसका बिल्कुल सहयोगी है, उसका बिजनेस पार्टनर है, वो अगर इस फेडरेशन में रहेगा तो मैं अपनी कुश्ती को त्यागती हूँ और मैं आज के बाद कभी भी आपको वहाँ नहीं दिखूंगा.
क्या लेना देना भाई, अपने
छोड़ने की बात
मेरे.
While there are celebrations in one camp, the other feels hard done by. The wrestlers sought justice and they feel that it's been denied. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Very unfortunate to see an Olympian bronze medalist, Sakshi Malik, who's brought India pride through her wrestling. She has now decided to hang up her boots, and quite literally so, she places her shoes on the table saying, I'm done with wrestling. Because you have Mr. Sanjay, who's a very close aide of Brij Bhushan, the man who was accused of sexual assault, who was the previous president of the Wrestling Federation of India. His close aide has now been voted to the helm. Nitin Srivastava joining us live, our correspondent from Delhi, tracking very closely this development within the wrestling community. Nitin, it's a tragedy that Sakshi Malik has decided to retire fully from wrestling, and she blames it entirely on on Brij Bhushan's close aide being appointed as the president. After much of the wrestling community came forward, many girls accused Brij Bhushan of sexual assault. They were promised that the investigation will ensure them justice. We see that Brij's close aide itself now catapulted to power.
Well, Nabila, it started actually 1 year back when, for the very first time, all the wrestlers came to Jantar Mantar saying that there are so many wrong things which Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh has done, and we wanted that that we should get justice, especially for the girls. And they made so many allegations against Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. From then until today, there are so many ups and downs which the Wrestling Federation has seen in the last 1 year. But today was the D-Day for the Wrestling Federation of India, because it was the elections day, the counting day. Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, very close aide, Sanjay Singh, who belongs from Varanasi, who was actually the president of UP State Association, and he was with the National Federation as well for many long years. So today he got elected by the members of WFI as the president, and right after that, Sakshi Malik, speaking to the media in the press conference, said that if someone is going to run WFI who is just like Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, that I quit. I am saying goodbye to the wrestling. So that is the big statement which has been made by Sakshi Malik. And
is it true that Sanjay is a close aide of Brij Bhushan? Could you confirm that to us? Is that a legitimate statement that Sakshi has made?
No, in the press conference, he said if someone like Sanjay Singh is going to run the run the Wrestling Federation of India, then I quit. And it is in the public domain that Sanjay Singh is very close to Brij Bhushan Saran Singh. He was with the Wrestling Federation of India in the international capacity and also in the state offices as well. So that is why everyone knows, and it is in the public domain. And they actually met.
What's happened? Finally, what's happened,
saying
Nitin, to all the investigation into Brij Bhushan's allegations against him on sexual assault, on manhandling many of the wrestlers? The allegations are that he's molested some of the female wrestlers.
But the allegation was on Brij Bhushan Saran Singh, not on Sanjay Singh. So that is why they categorically said in their last protest that we don't want anyone who is from the family of Brij Bhushan Saran Singh, no relative to stand and to contest in the election. That is why Sanjay Singh was chosen, because he is well experienced. He knows how to run the federation. He is into the administration, and that is why he got all the support. See, remember that he got 40 votes against Sanjay Singh. Anita Shoren was there from wrestler side. She only got 7 votes. So it is it is very clear that how exactly he was getting the support from all the state unions. So and for now, and this is a very unfortunate that Sakshi Malik coming up and saying that I quit wrestling. This is something very shocking.
Nitin, thanks very much for joining us on that. Very tragic that Sakshi Malik had to announce that she's giving up wrestling entirely because she believes Sanjay Singh is a close aide of Brij Bhushan. He might have the same qualities. She does not trust him and yet raises concerns that all the promises made by the government and the sports ministry particularly, that they will give the wrestlers who are protesting justice, none of that has come through. Sakshi Malik today says she retires. Now, big churn in the India alliance. The rift within Team India is only widening with the passing day from Congress to TMC to SP to DMK. Every other party at loggerheads. In fact, Mamata Banerjee's TMC has put a deadline for the Congress to finalize seat-sharing arrangement. The party has also asked Congress to push pro-people's agenda and not anti-Modi agenda. In fact, Mamata has also proposed Priyanka Gandhi's name against Prime Minister Modi in 2024 polls from Varanasi. Slamming the Congress, JDU leader has snapped at the grand old party, calling it a stubborn party. He claimed that Congress isn't serious about the India alliance and that Nitish should be the one leading the opposition bloc instead. Not only this, there was an apparent rift between Nitish and Stalin yesterday over the Hindi language issue. BJP mocked Nitish Kumar and Stalin's Hindi face-off. Now, we're looking at multiple issues that's now surfacing of the India bloc, though they claim that these are issues that is expected. Let me cut across to Amit Shah addressing the Rajya Sabha.
लोक सभा ने इन तीनों विधेयकों को अपनी मोहर लगा दी है और आज उच्च सदन की अनुमति प्राप्त होने के बाद मैं आशा करता हूं कि ये भारत की क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम में एक नए युग की शुरुआत होगी जो पूर्णतया भारतीय है। मान्यवर, आपराधिक कानून और आपराधिक प्रक्रिया हमारे कंकरन लिस्ट में है, परंतु कई सालों से आईपीसी 163 साल से, सीआरपीसी 125 साल से और एविडेंस एक्ट 150 साल से जो ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट ने बनाए थे, वही एक्ट को आज हम उसी एक्ट से आज हम गवर्न हो रहे थे। नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने आजादी के 75 साल बाद इस देश में सारे कॉलोनियल कानूनों के अंदर उसको बदलाव कर समाप्त कर भारत की आत्मा को प्रस्तावित करने की शुरुआत। मान्यवर, 2019 से हम इस पर अगस्त 2019 से इस पर विचार विमर्श चर्चा सलाह कर रहे थे और मुझे आनंद है मान्यवर कि आज मैं इस महान सदन के सामने इसका परिपाक लेकर आपके आशीर्वाद के लिए यहां पर खड़ा हुआ हूं। मान्यवर, सिर्फ कानूनों के नाम नहीं बदले गए, उसके उद्देश्य के अंदर आमूलचूल परिवर्तन कर इंडियन पिनल कोड, क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर कोड और एविडेंस एक्ट, ये तीनों कानूनों को सन 57 के स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के बाद अंग्रेजों के शासन की रक्षा के लिए बनाया गया था और उसका उद्देश्य केवल और केवल अंग्रेज शासन की रक्षा का था। उसमें कहीं भारत के नागरिक की सुरक्षा, उसके सम्मान की सुरक्षा, इसके मानव अधिकार की सुरक्षा और निर्बल को रक्षण देने की व्यवस्था दूरबीन लेकर भी ढूंढे तो नहीं दिखाई पड़ती थी। मान्यवर धाराओं के क्रम से भी ये इंगित हो जाता है, मानववध या किसी मां बेटी के साथ अत्याचार से बड़ा क्या गुनाह हो सकता है। परंतु मान्यवर, पहले ट्रेजरी के खजाने को लूटने का गुनाह, रेल की पटरियों को तोड़ने का गुनाह, अंग्रेज शासन के खिलाफ षड्यंत्र करने का गुनाह, इसकी प्रायोरिटी ऊपर थी, मानव हत्या की प्रायोरिटी और बहन बेटी के साथ अत्याचार की प्रायोरिटी बहुत नीचे थी। क्योंकि अंग्रेज शासन का ये उद्देश्य ही नहीं था, उसका उद्देश्य दंड देने का था। जो शासन के खिलाफ काम करते थे, उसका उद्देश्य जिनके साथ अन्याय होता है, जिन पर अत्याचार होता है, उसको न्याय देने का नहीं था। आज मैं जो 3 बिल लेकर आपके सामने उपस्थित हुआ हूं मान्यवर, ये तीनों बिलों का उद्देश्य दंड देने का नहीं है, न्याय देने का है। न्याय का विचार, हमारे भारतीय विचार में न्याय एक प्रकार से अम्ब्रेला टर्म, न्याय शब्द में गुनाह करने वाला और विक्टिम, जिसको गुनाह के कारण भुगतना पड़ा है, दोनों को समाहित कर एक संपूर्ण कल्पना न्याय की करी है। और ये नए कानूनों को मेरा सभी सदस्यों को अनुरोध है, आप ध्यान से पढ़ोगे तो भारतीय दर्शन के न्याय को हमने इसके अंदर स्थान दिया है। हमारे संविधान निर्माताओं ने भी राजनीतिक न्याय, आर्थिक न्याय और सामाजिक न्याय को बरकरार रखने की संविधान की गारंटी हमारे 140 करोड़ के देश को दी है। इसको भी परिपूर्ति करने का इस तीनों बिल के अंदर प्रयास किया गया है। ये कानूनों की आत्मा मान्यवर भारतीय है और पहली बार क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम में भारत द्वारा, भारत के लिए और भारतीय संसद से बनाए गए कानूनों से अब हमारी क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम गवर्न होगी। इसका मुझे बहुत गौरव है मान्यवर। भारतीय न्याय संहिता के खंड 2 में डेफिनेशन दी है। डेफिनेशन के अंदर भी हमारी पौराणिक न्याय की जो कल्पना है, मैं मानता हूं समग्र विश्व के न्याय के जितने भी दर्शन है, उसमें वो सबसे उदार चरित कल्पना है। वो उदार चरित कल्पना के आधार पर हमने सभी व्याख्याओं को लिया है। जेंडर, एक्ट, ओमिशन, मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी, ये सारी व्याख्याओं को हमारे यहाँ 10,000 से लेकर 5,000 साल पहले इस पर विचार भी हुआ है, उसको रेखांकित भी किया गया है।
All right, and that's Amit Shah there speaking in the Rajya Sabha on the new criminal bills that's being introduced. I'm slipping into a short break, coming back with a lot more on the other side. Stay with us.
India, as you know, is a land of diversity where countless stories are born every day. A brand that has celebrated the rich mosaic of our country, India Today, is the brand that has been covering stories from all spheres of life from across the country tirelessly, making sense of the myriad India and the Indians residing in here. The story of India Today and the story of my latest film, Donkey, which is inspired by the phenomenal dreams and struggles of the same Indians and is a story about love and friendship filled with humor and heart.
हमने मजबूरी में अपना घर छोड़ा था, वरना कोई अपना देश, अपना परिवार, अपने दोस्तों को छोड़कर क्यों जाएगा सरहदों पे गोली खाने?
While my film Donkey symbolizes the struggle of many who leave home and their loved ones behind in the hope for a better life, They miss their homeland in this tough bargain. But it's their spirit that helps them carry on. India today has been capturing the indomitable spirit of being an Indian for over 5 decades now. India today, making sense to India, making sense of India.
हमें लगता है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल के लिए कानून से ऊपर विपासना है, कानून का सम्मान नहीं है। ये दिखाता है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल के मन में कानून के लिए इज्जत और मान नहीं है। आपको ईडी ने बुलाया था, चंद सवालों के जवाब देने के लिए बुलाया था, लेकिन आपने पिछली बार आपने बहाना मारा था कि मध्य प्रदेश और छत्तीसगढ़ और राजस्थान के चुनाव हैं, इसलिए आप उसमें व्यस्त हैं। इस बार आप विपासना में चले गए 10 दिन के लिए।
जो केजरीवाल साहब उपासना के लिए 10 दिन का टूर बना के आ रहे हैं, वो कोई उपासना या कोई योगा कैंप या वो अटेंड करने नहीं आ रहे। क्लियर सी बात है कि ईडी के समन से बचने के लिए कि मुझे ईडी पकड़ ना ले, उन्होंने पॉलिटिकल असाइलम उस स्टेट में लिया है जिसमें उनका अपना राज है। तो वो पंजाब में पॉलिटिकल असाइलम ले रहे हैं 10 दिन के लिए। ऐसे कैसे काम चलेगा? एक स्टेट का सीएम अपनी स्टेट में से भगौड़ा होके दूसरी अपनी स्टेट में जाके पॉलिटिकल असाइलम देगा।
This is how everyone pictures India's most wanted terrorist, Dawood Ibrahim. The only images that exist of a man who has evaded Indian justice for 3 decades. Until 1985, Dawood was one of the most infamous figures in India, but his photos were scarce. Everyone knew of Dawood, but no one knew what he looked like. Then came this famous Dawood moment, captured by India Today photographer Bhavan Singh in Sharjah in 1986. Dawood and his gang members in tow attending a cricket match between India and Pakistan. Realizing a man surrounded by bodyguards could be Dawood, India Today's Bhavan Singh prepared to take a photo. Just as he was about to click, Dawood's men stopped him. But Dawood signaled to them to allow the photo to be clicked. This image was the result. In 2015, a rare new image of Dawood Ibrahim emerged, providing the world with the first glimpse of the terrorist in over 2 decades. But now, amidst massive buzz over the status of Indian fugitive, you're probably wondering, what does 67-year-old Dawood Ibrahim looks like now? Well, India Today used artificial intelligence-enabled photo software to answer that question. What you're looking at are the results. Using the handful of public domain real-life images, here's how AI has imagined Dawood Ibrahim. The 3 phases of India's most wanted terrorist. How soon before we have a real picture of what he looks like now. With Rahul Gupta, Bureau Report, India Today.
Powered by PolicyBazaar.com. हर फैमिली होगी इंश्योर्ड. टाटा सफारी, reclaim your life.
I'm cutting across to this big breaking news coming in. Very tragic news of 3 soldiers killed in action in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri. 2 army vehicles have been ambushed. 3 soldiers killed. Approximately at 3:45 p.m. on December 21st, that's today, 2 army vehicles carrying troops were moving to operational site where they were fired upon by terrorists. In fact, the fire was immediately retaliated by our own troops. Unfortunately, 3 soldiers have died. In the ongoing operation, our troops sustained 3 fatalities and 3 non-fatal casualties. 3 fatal and 3 non-fatal casualties. In fact, operation that's currently still in progress, as we understand that encounter is still on in that region. And while you had additional security forces of the army moving towards reinforcing that operation against the terror groups, that's when they were ambushed by terrorists, terror elements, and unfortunately 3 of them have died. More details that emerge. Shiv Arur joins us live right from the newsroom. Shiv, a 3rd ambush in Rajouri this year alone. It's shocking that Rajouri Poonch district really comprises of nearly 40% of security casualties this year alone.
A very, very tragic development coming in from the Thana Mandi area of Rajouri sector, which, like you rightly said, Nabila, is the 3rd ambush of this kind this year alone. There were five soldiers and officers who were killed in action in an encounter in November, less than a month ago. In May this year, another 5 special forces men lost their lives in an encounter, and now you've got the ambush on a vehicle in which 3 soldiers have lost their lives and 3 more are fighting for their lives. They've also sustained gunshot wounds. The images coming in from the ground are obviously horrifying. We aren't showing any live pictures, just to make that very clear to our viewers. But this particular sector, the Poonch Rajouri sector, has been extremely, extremely precarious. Even though there is a ceasefire across the line of control, Nabila, the Rajouri Poonch sector has been a highway for infiltration, a highway for elevated violence all through the year, ever since that ceasefire came into effect, and that has been a huge concern area for the army. The Dera Ki Gali area in Thana Mandi is a pretty high altitude zone, pretty forested, mountainous area, difficult to actually navigate. Many hiding places not very far from the line of control where terrorists who infiltrate can hide, can sustain themselves for a very long time, and therefore to be ambushed in this manner is not surprising, but it actually points to the fact that the army continues to face these very, very real challenges here. Remember that terrorism overall may have actually come down in Jammu and Kashmir following the abrogation of Article 370, but the Rajouri Poonch sector continues to be a huge problem area, as has been borne out by today's incident.
Right. Like you rightly said, we understand that terrorism has dropped, at least militancy that has been dealt with by and large. But it is the Rajouri Poonch sector that's really acting up as an anomaly, a dark patch for even the security forces. But as of now, on the news that we've heard, we hear 3 army personnel have died and 3 others are critical. Shiv, would you be able to tell us if this was an ongoing operation of which additional forces were called in, and while they were en route, they were ambushed?
That's right. This encounter actually began last night in this same area, and reinforcements were obviously called in, because this encounter wasn't ending. Contact had been established with the terrorists. We don't yet have a number of how many, are part of the firefight. But the fact that the enforcements needed to be called in suggests that either there were a larger number of terrorists, or this was, proving to be challenging because the terrorists may have had a terrain advantage. They may have had a position of advantage vis-a-vis the army. So we don't know which particular unit this is. It's still very sensitive, Nabila, because it's an ongoing operation. So the army also, will not release any of that information. We won't be putting out any unit information until there is a confirmation. So the only thing we know so far is that 3 men have lost their lives. 3 are fighting for their lives. There isn't even a confirmation, in fact, whether the 3 injured have been, safely evacuated. Because remember, this is a firefight zone, where firing is continuing even as we speak. So anyone who goes to try and evacuate those who are injured risks also coming into the line of fire of the terrorists. But the army says that the 3 men who are injured have been recovered. There could be a threat to others. There were 2 vehicles, remember, that were ambushed. A total of, we don't know how many people were there in each vehicle and what the condition is of the others who are in those 2 gypsies. But we're awaiting another update, perhaps a little later from now, from the army.
All right, Shiv. Thanks very much. Really tragic. Our hearts going out. Condolences going out to the families of those martyrs. 3 of them have been confirmed dead. The numbers could go up. 3 more are said to be critical. We're very closely tracking those developments. All right, let me shift our focus here to that Parliament showdown, a stalemate, right towards the fag end of the winter session of the Parliament. We saw it ending on a note where 146 MPs were suspended en masse in the last 3 days itself. Now, we hear today itself, 3 more opposition MPs were suspended, as I mentioned, taking up the total to a record-breaking 146. While the India bloc has hit the streets protesting against the suspension, BJP is staging its own protest over mimicry video by TMC MP Kalyan Banerjee. Well, this is really the showdown that we witnessed over the last 3 days, but a real historic, unprecedented development that came in is that 146 MPs have been suspended. That's really the highlight. But what's been the takeaway is the mimicry that Kalyan Banerjee indulged in. Danish Ali, who's one of the suspended MPs himself of the BSP, joining us live. Thanks very much, sir, for speaking to us. How would you view the suspension? 146 MPs who've been suspended en masse. It appears that after a point, it almost was expected. Day after day, multiple suspensions, and not just for the day, for the remainder of the winter session. Your views on that?
No, this is very unfortunate, and that whole opposition was suspended. And this shows that BJP does not believe in the parliamentary democracy at all. Their slogan was earlier Congress Mukt Bharat, but now they want opposition Mukt Bharat. They have already done opposition Mukt Parliament by suspending 150 odd MPs. They have said earlier Congress Mukt Bharat, they have done Muslim Mukt legislature, now they have done opposition Mukt parliament.
You know, but as much as you say that, we see that the opposition India bloc have united on this very issue. It's given you a push to come together as one unit. A good reason here.
See, it's not that this issue has given the opposition to unite, but it shows the mindset of the ruling dispensation that, see, the people, the BJP members who used the parliament forum to abuse another MP like me. He is there, he is speaking on the bills. he is being fielded by the BJP as an official member to speak on the bills. He has not been suspended. No action against him. But opposition members who are questioning the government on the same issue, on the questioning the government on the intruders, that how intruders came, at least Home Minister should make a statement. We have been suspended. तो गाली देने वाले अंदर बैठेंगे, सवाल पूछने वाले बाहर जाएंगे.
Well, no doubt that this is unbelievable to see 146 MPs who were suspended. Ideally, suspension should happen sparingly, but here you have en masse suspension. And your protests that you've launched today in different parts of the country, in Delhi and also other parts of India, we believe the Congress has launched pan-India protests against suspension. Has this really resonated with the people at large, do you believe?
See, country is viewing how, why these opposition members are being suspended, and country is also viewing how the so-called mainstream media is in the trap of the BJP narrative, that they are using the constitutional position also. Kalyan Banerjee's mimicry outside the parliament has become a national agenda for the BJP. The person, Honorable Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar is the Honorable Vice President of India. And if you compare Rajya Sabha Chairman, Vice President of India, using his identity, that he is from a Jat community and he is from the farmers, this is not fair on his part also and on BJP's part also. Because once he is on the constitutional position, like I was abused in Parliament. I never said that he has attacked my identity. I said that I am an elected representative. What Ramesh Biduri said on the floor of the House is not for only Danish Ali. It is shameful for every member of the Parliament. अभी पार्लियामेंट्री अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर कहते हैं, सरकार कहती है कि ऑपोजिशन के एमपीज ने संसद की मर्यादा भंग की है. मुझे समझ नहीं आता, संसद की मर्यादा जब गालियां दी जाती हैं तब ज्यादा भंग होती है या सरकार से सवाल पूछने पर ज्यादा भंग होती है. मेरे को गालियां पड़ी तो मैंने वो सवाल जो है केवल सिर्फ अपनी कम्युनिटी का सवाल नहीं बनाया, मैंने वो संसद की मर्यादा का सवाल बनाया. लेकिन मुझे ताज्जुब हो रहा है यहाँ पर कि बीजेपी जो है माननीय उपराष्ट्रपति जी को खाली उनकी जात के प्रिज्म से देख रही है, which is very unfortunate.
Sir, but what's also, one would say that you've given a fit reason for the BJP to condemn you. You're seated outside, you've been suspended, you're seated outside and you're insulting the chair of the Rajya Sabha by mimicking Jagdeep Dhankar. You've placed an issue into the hands of the BJP.
What is it? Rahul Gandhi ji has already said it, that he has not uploaded that video anywhere. You also know and we also know from which angle that video was shooted, and who shooted it and how it was circulated.
We understand that part, Danish Ali, but at the end of it, it all happened inside the parliament. Whether Rahul Gandhi tweeted that video or put it out on social media or not is a different issue. But you all were mocking the chair inside the parliament, right outside, seated on the stairs at the Makar Dwar.
What is there by opposition members are not allowed and they are holding a mock parliament. And Kalyan Banerjee has already said he was not mocking the chairman of Rajya Sabha. This is out of proportion. They have blown up this issue.
All right. So, since I'd like to ask you a quick word as we hear the India bloc meeting has just ended, where yesterday there was a lot of talk that Akhilesh Yadav is opposed to the idea of inviting the BSP, Mayawati, into the India bloc coalition partnership. What's your view on that? I know that you are suspended, but do you have a say here for the BSP?
No. I am a suspended member of the BSP. I am a suspended member of Lok Sabha. because I am fighting the mighty of BJP and this government, which I believe it's a fascist government, which do not allow the opposition voice in the parliament. So I don't know what happened in the India Alliance meeting, and I am not an authorized person to speak on that.
No, but is Mayawati, in your view, with the BJP? Is Mayawati backing the BJP as per Akhilesh? Would you agree? As I said, I am a suspended member. If I say yes, then people will say because he has been suspended, that's why he is speaking like this. If I say no, then you will say that you don't have the authority to speak on behalf of BS. So that's why I'm not making any comment. Okay. Let me take a final question here. Are you with the India bloc?
I am with the people of my constituency. I am with the people of my country. जो इस देश का शोषित वंचित पीड़ित समाज है, जो किसान हैं, जो नौजवान हैं, जो इश्यूज हैं, मैं उनके साथ हूँ, मैं उन लोगों के साथ हूँ. जब कहीं पर हमला होता है, अगर किसी महिला सांसद की अस्मिता पर हमला होता है, तो I was there in the ethics committee to oppose it. I am everywhere to oppose such type of things, and I will continue to oppose Bharatiya Janata Party's anti-people policies.
Thank you very much, Danish Ali, for joining us on that. I'm going to quickly cut across now. A quick word from Ami Ben Yagnik, MP, Rajya Sabha, and also a national spokesperson of the Congress, Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP. Ami Ben, if I may ask, suspension has happened. 146 members have got, the number of suspension has gone up to 146 today, with an additional 3 MPs sent out. This is how the winter session ended. What a massive way to conclude, or the most controversial way to conclude this year, and maybe the biggest showdown ever before 2024 Lok Sabha.
I think you should look at it in a way that 3 important criminal bills have been bulldozed, in a sense that there was no opposition. So there is not a single submission or submission put forward on behalf of the people for whom the opposition represents. So none of us could come to the parliament and speak on these important bills, and because they are touching the lives of all the people of this country, very important bills, I think the opposition, after being suspended, is not allowed to speak, because we can't go in the house and we can make submissions on these 3 important bills. That is how I look at it, because the simple request of the opposition parties was that such a massive lapse of security has taken place, a breach of safety and security has taken place in the Parliament House. And especially when you know that the intruders who came, who jumped and all the smoke came out, were issued a pass by one of the sitting BJP members of Parliament, it would have been very easy to ask the person how it has happened, and the Honorable Union Minister, Home Minister should have come and made a statement. He should have been worried about the people and the people in the Parliament, the MPs in the Parliament, the security and safety issue of the Parliament. He should have himself rushed and made a statement.
It's a valid question, surely. It is a valid question, no doubt. And Sanju Verma on that. Sanju Verma, 3 bills that have been passed on opposition-less parliament. It was done deliberately. There was many of the MPs who did not even storm to the well of the house, may not have even raised slogans in such a manner, were sent out. Suspension came in as if it was so easy for one to be suspended, while the rules say that it should be sparing. Until and unless one really commits an act of absolute disorder, a suspension is the last option. But here you have 146 MPs. They call the government fascist.
You know, I heard a lengthy monologue even by Danish Ali on the same issue, Nabila. And I just want to make a few quick points. On your channel, with your colleagues, I on debates have said that what was told to Danish Ali, I condemn that, despite being the national spokesperson of BJP, because I think, you know, we should not condone any form of stereotypes against any particular community. I strongly believe in that. Having said that, I also would like to call out the bluff and hypocrisy of people who take offense to what Ramesh Biduri said against Danish Ali. But when Danish Ali said that नीच को नीच नहीं बुलाएंगे तो क्या कहेंगे, in a clear reference to the Prime Minister, ये सब लोग जो दानिश अली के समर्थन में आ गए हैं सड़क पर, इन सब के मुंह में फेविकॉल लग गया था. So this is the hypocrisy that I take strong offense to. Point number one. Point number two, the Vice President, the Chair of the House, forget about the fact that he's a Jat, he's an OBC, he's a reputed lawyer, he's a senior citizen, he comes from a farming background. The fact is, as the presiding officer of the House, he said he will have a discussion wide Rule 267 on the parliamentary security breach, which is what most MPs were demanding. But after that, when there was repeat jumping into the well of the House, throwing paper rockets, sloganeering, carrying placards, with folded hands, he said, please sit down, we will have a discussion. It is then that he took the action wide Rule 255 and 256 of the Rules of Procedure of the House. So it is not unconstitutional. He enjoys, when I say he, I mean the presiding officer of the House enjoys sweeping powers bestowed on him by the Constitution. Now my third important point, Nabila, I always say that the devil is in the detail. You look at the budget session. During the budget session in February 2023, we had very little business which was transacted in the Rajya Sabha because at that time, repeatedly the opposition staged walkouts on the Adani issue despite the fact that in January 2023, the Supreme Court had already formed a 7-member high-powered committee to probe the Adani matter under the aegis of Justice Sapre, who's an ex-Chief Justice of the Guwahati High Court. Then you look at the monsoon session. In the monsoon session, I remember who moved the no confidence motion against the Modi government. It was Gaurav Gogoi. And on the final day, on the 10th of August 2023, when the Prime Minister was answering every single allegation pertaining to the Manipur issue, Gaurav Gogoi, Rahul Gandhi, the entire opposition staged a walkout. And forget about the monsoon session. Let's talk about the discussion on Article 370. Do you remember what Amit Shah said? After speaking for 5 to 6 hours, the opposition had ample time. The moment Amit Shah started speaking, Mallikarjun Kharge said, "हम तो निकलने लगे हैं." And Amit Shah then said, "खड़गे साहब, आपको सुनना पड़ेगा क्योंकि मैंने विपक्ष की बातें लगातार 6 घंटे के लिए सुनी हैं." So basically, the opposition believes shoot and scoot. आप तो बोलेंगे पर दूसरे को बोलने नहीं देंगे, and then you will play the victim card.
Let me get Ami Ben on that. Ami Ben, is that right? You ask for a conversation, you ask the Prime Minister and the Home Minister to address an issue, but when they begin to speak, you want to stage a walkout because you don't trust the word that comes from them. So what's the point in creating a ruckus and ending if you could have had a civil discussion and had a more fruitful week, because you knew very well also that 3 bills are going to be tabled?
Let me first clarify that there was no rocket throwing. We just asked by filing notices which are required under the rule and procedure in the House. Several MPs had filed notices every day, including myself, but the notices at the very threshold at 11 o'clock were not entertained and were told that we are not entertaining that in those notices, and hence there will be no, we don't want to have any discussion on that. And the only request of all the opposition members was that the Honorable Union Home Minister should come to the House, make a statement why such a breach has happened. That was the only request, and that should have happened on his own, suo moto. There should not have been a request coming from the members of the parliament by opposition or any member of parliament. Even the ruling dispensation members cannot speak a single word. So we asked for it, but he did not come. Every day we requested, he did not come. Such a serious lapse, such a serious
Sanju
security.
Verma, you want to respond to that?
I come in?
No, 1 minute, let me complete.
I'll come to you, Ami Ben. A quick word, Sanju, on that.
And that is why
many requests were not entertained. Requests of the opposition were not addressed.
And immediately, we are suspended and we are out of the House. We are unable to contribute to any bills, and that is why I think such a massive suspension, and nobody is bothered about that. And you are trying to take it on a tangential debate.
You need to give me
Okay,
time
Sanju Verma, your take on that. Requests were denied and an immediate suspension followed.
Let's be very clear about this. Ever since Narendra Modi came to the helm of affairs in 2014, you please look at the track record of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha, the BJP has a brute majority. And at times, the productive efficiency has exceeded 100%, 102%, 106%, 109%. But in Rajya Sabha, where we do not have a brute majority, you look at the productive efficiency in the last 9.5 years. There you will see that sometimes, the productive efficiency has fallen to 28%. Sometimes the House is working only to 37%.
Okay, but addressing the issue at hand, speaking of the parliamentary security breach, we barely have 10 seconds. Addressing the parliament security breach, they were not allowed to ask questions. Their demands were struck down. Their demands were struck down on the parliamentary security breach, ma'am.
Your questions are valid, but you have to allow me to answer them. You can't answer on my behalf, Nabila.
No, I don't want you to go back in history. You're going back in time. I want you to address the issue at hand.
Let me speak. Yes, I got you. I had to give that history to put things in context. But I will answer your question. Nabila, it is as simple as this. This entire charade, democracy khatre mein hai, constitution, samvidhan khatre mein hai, that is a whole lot of hogwash, and I'll tell you why. The DG CRPF, Anish Dayal Singh, has been given the opportunity, the responsibility, and he's accountable as to why this breach happened in the first place. He will submit his recommendations to Home Minister Amit Shah, and after that, the Home Minister will respond to every single query, but the Home Minister will not have a gun.
We heard you on that. Thank you very much. We heard you, Sanju. Thank you very much, Ami Ben. Thank you, Sanju Verma, for joining us. Appreciate your time. Well, clearly the opposition and the centre at this point not looking eye to eye. The winter session has been a near washout with 3 bills that have been tabled, but sans the opposition members in the parliament. 146 members who've been suspended, almost a history that it's made. We're going to continue following those details, protests as it continues over the suspension. For now, thanks for watching.
One of the ideas that's been thrown up this week is the idea of making Mallikarjun Kharge, the current Congress president, the prime ministerial face of the India alliance. Mamata Banerjee and Arvind Kejriwal have both suggested this idea. Do you see there is some traction there in this attempt to try and stitch the Dalits, the Muslims and some other communities together, depending on which party is in alliance where, but basically by projecting Mallikarjun Kharge as the prime ministerial face to take on Prime Minister Modi?
Well, Rahul, I'm a believer that if you do something right or wrong, it would have some impact. Say when India Alliance called themselves India instead of calling themselves UPA, definitely there has been a chatter, there was a buzz, but they stopped there. Similarly, if they announce a face, whether it is Mr. Kharge or somebody else, definitely it will add some more jing to what they are trying to do. But the irony here is that Mr. Kharge's name was proposed by Ms. Mamata Banerjee and Kejriwal. His own party did not necessarily back the idea. Mr. Kharge is the president of Congress. So if it would have proposed by Mamata Banerjee, Arvind Kejriwal and backed solidly by Congress, then it would have got merit to discuss. I do agree that if Mr. Kharge is made a prime ministerial face on the part of India Alliance, it would definitely add some it would give some advantage to India Alliance because he is a tall leader, senior leader. How much, that I don't know, because he is from South India. And largely the battle with BJP is in North and the Hindi heartland. But definitely, rather than having no face, if you would have a face, it would have an advantage.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 23 and minimum 8 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 30 and minimum 24 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 26 and minimum 14 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 28 and minimum 19 degrees. Chennai, maximum 27 and minimum 24 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 28 and minimum 13 degrees.
Does become Kharge versus Modi fight, what will it look like? Let's take a look one by one on the strengths, weaknesses and importantly the characteristics of both individuals. Prime Minister Modi on one side, remember, 73 years old, only non-Congress Prime Minister with 2 straight terms and looking at a hat-trick now. Mallikarjun Kharge, 81 years of age, first non-Gandhi to helm the Congress in over 20 years. So that's going to be very crucial. He has that leadership quality, has been able to at least lead the party. What happens with regard to when Prime Minister Modi, who stands right now having led the BJP not just at the centre, but victories one after another in the assembly states, for example, as latest as we have seen in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and in Rajasthan. For Mallikarjun Kharge also, it is individually also, remember, he's won 10 straight elections. He's won Karnataka Legislative Assembly. He's been the Lok Sabha Member of Parliament for several years and has been now in the Rajya Sabha too. For Prime Minister Modi, he's made clearly BJP a pan-India party. He's trying to make inroads into the southern states. For Mallikarjun Kharge, there had been factionalism, there had been different issues. He's tried to also revive the Congress party in a lot of ways to ensure it can then take on the BJP. For Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he is becoming a popular global leader as well in multiple surveys, his leadership, and not just with regard to the connect to the masses, which is of course humongous, but also with regard to other leaders, for example, like the Italian Prime Minister, US President, who have been sharing individual friendship as well with the Prime Minister. Mallikarjun Kharge, meanwhile, with regard to caste equations as one of the tallest Dalit leaders, has made that representation, and then to be leading the Congress party is definitely a game changer. Now, for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, remember, he has the electoral benefits right now with regard to the elections he's been winning, but as much with regard to the connect that he has made, saying, I do not believe in caste. The only caste for me are the poor people who need to be uplifted, apart from, for example, women as well. For Mallikarjun Kharge, he's also a popular face in the southern state of Karnataka locally and has now been able to come to the national representation as well for the Congress party.
Presented by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Growing Legacies. Co-presented by Century Laminates by Manish Malhotra, Fashion for your furniture.
Co-presented by
Macho Hind, Bade Aaram Se.
Co-presented by
New Kia Sonet, The Wild Reborn. Co-powered by PolicyBazaar.com, Har family hogi insured. Max Life Insurance.
Hello and welcome. What implications does the semi-final verdict have for the big final of 2024? Will the India Alliance be able to pose a meaningful challenge to the Modi Sarkar? Is Prime Minister Modi virtually guaranteed a record third re-election? And what should one expect from the BJP if the BJP and Prime Minister Modi were to come back to power for the third time? To talk about this and more, I'm delighted to be joined on India Today's news track, live and exclusive from Darbhanga in Bihar, by one of India's foremost political thinkers. He made his reputation as an ace political strategist, currently traversing the length and breadth of Bihar as part of the Suraj Abhiyan. He was in a community meeting early this morning and has now taken out time from his Padyatra to join us. Prashant Kishor, thank you very much for speaking to us and welcome to the India Today Network.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks for having me.
So I want to start by asking you about some of the questions that have been in the minds of people who track Indian politics very closely. And I'll start from that one main question about the implications of the semi-final results on the verdict of 2024. Nothing is guaranteed, as we saw in the World Cup finals, but to the extent that one can predict an election, do you think the semi-final results make it almost inevitable that Prime Minister Modi and the BJP are likely to come to power in May 2024 again?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't like to call it a semi-final. Because if you call it a semi-final, that means last time when the elections happened in the same 5 states, if you remember, BJP lost 4 out of those 5 out of 5. So that means BJP would have lost out of the final before the Lok Sabha elections. I don't see it as a semi-final, but definitely when you go with the win, it gives you an added advantage. At least psychologically you have an advantage. To that extent, BJP has an advantage. But to draw a conclusive argument that because BJP has won 3 states, they are going to win Lok Sabha is not true. They were ahead any which way, even before these state elections. For any independent observer, BJP was well ahead of India Alliance, and that continues to be the case. But definitely these state elections would have added a bit more psychological, given a bit more psychological advantage to BJP. But I wouldn't draw a direct correlation between what has happened in these states versus what is going to happen in Lok Sabha elections.
What do you think
and
are the
I'm saying this both positively and negatively.
Sure. What do you
because,
think?
see, it is quite possible that in assembly elections where the vote percentage-wise Congress and BJP are looking closer, it could very well be the case that BJP would have an added advantage and the vote share will go up. But it can go the other way around as well.
Sure. So we'll look at both probabilities in just a moment. The Congress in particular was quite caught off guard when the results finally came out. They were expecting, Prashant, a better performance, particularly in Chhattisgarh and in Madhya Pradesh. You do your own parallel polling, you have your people all across the country. What's your sense of why Kamal Nath and Bhupesh Baghel were caught off guard by the end results? Because they thought their vote bank is intact, they thought they had a good chance of winning. Some of the BJP's initial internal polls also were showing the Congress in the lead. So when you break down this verdict, where do you think the Congress lost the plot and why?
Well, I don't have first-hand experience, but just to make a small correction here, 4 or 5 months before the elections, I was talking to another media channel, and at that time I said on record that to my mind, whatever little understanding I have, BJP is ahead in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh is going to be a close fight. We shouldn't be surprised if BJP pull it off. The reason being, in Madhya Pradesh, I don't think Congress as a unit was ever in position to fight and win. They may think whatever they might have thought, but they were not in contention. In Rajasthan, it was always clear. Chhattisgarh, a lot of people thought, because incumbents, especially the strong incumbents with strong faces, always gives you this illusion that this person is invincible. We have seen it in case of Telangana, BRS, probably the same was the case in Chhattisgarh. But you have to take note of a couple of things. In Chhattisgarh, Congress was not very strong. Last time they won because of especially this paddy issue on which they catch the imagination, and BJP was caught off guard. But Congress could not repeat the performance in Lok Sabha. If you look at the Lok Sabha election result, which happened after 2/3 majority of Congress in Chhattisgarh, they were literally wiped off. A lot of people said it's a Modi factor, but that might be the case. But reality is in Chhattisgarh, BJP has been quite strong. Secondly, I think Congress has been complacent in Chhattisgarh. They thought that it's just for them to be taking. Second, I'm not so sure about how much this caste-based reservation, Congress making that a central issue, would have hurt them. One need to study it carefully, because Congress's core support base probably would not have liked it as much as Congress think about the issue. So my sense is, for a regional party, when they talk about caste-based surveys, and versus a national party making it a central ploy, might have backfired them in Hindi heartland.
You're saying the Congress wasn't organizationally weak in Madhya Pradesh and therefore it was unlikely that they would win. The same can be said and more about Telangana, where the Congress was a shambles till a few months ago, and their campaign really kicked into life after the Karnataka verdict came out earlier in the year. So if organizational strength is the reason for the defeat of the Congress in Madhya Pradesh, then what explains their victory in Telangana, where their organizational strength was even weaker than what there was in Madhya Pradesh?
Because in Telangana, the vote is largely against VRS. So Congress, first of all, Congress again in Telangana was not in shambles. There was an illusion because in Hyderabad municipal election, Congress did very badly. If you look at the assembly results in Hyderabad city, they are wiped off even today. But Congress in Telangana has never been, even in last election, they were in the close contest. They won about 35 seats out of 117. It's just that after the victory with the political and financial muscle power, VRS, at that time it used to be called TRS, they took a lot of Congress, and that made Congress appear weaker than what actually they have been on the ground. Telangana Congress has never been that weak. One need to study it carefully. If you would have studied it, in rural Telangana, parts of Telangana, what used to be original Andhra, Congress was always strong in Telangana side, especially the combination there, the Reddis, the Muslims and Dalit is a very formidable combination that has traditionally voted for Congress in Telangana. This time there was an anti-incumbency against KCR government, and that helped Congress. And also they ran a good campaign that shows that if you put a good face on the ground, you put effort, there is always an opportunity for you.
Let's
compare that to Madhya Pradesh.
Yes.
Hear me out. Compare that to Madhya Pradesh, where Congress went with the same old guard, the same tactics, nothing new, no new face, no new approach. You are trying to defeat BJP since last 20-25 years in Madhya Pradesh with the same faces, same narrative, same tactics. That's not going to work. Also, make no mistake, BJP, to my mind, BJP's organization, if I have to rate their organizational might in different states, I would rate Madhya Pradesh in top 2 or top 3 organizations across the country. BJP in Madhya Pradesh, their base is very, very sound, they're very strong, and that must be taken care into account before you talk about possibility of them winning, losing Madhya Pradesh. Last time in assembly election, BJP, Congress could pull it off closely primarily because of the 2 regions, Gwalior-Chambal region, where BJP lost out, and also in Ujjain region. This time BJP went ahead. If you remember, in Madhya Pradesh, they announced their tickets, especially in the weak seats, almost 3-4 months before, which has never been the case with BJP. Or usually they don't announce their candidates that early. So they took their lessons from the last time, which turned out to be a very close fight where Congress had an edge, and made the corrections. Compared to that, Congress continued with the same tactics, same faces, same narrative, and that's why they paid the price.
Okay, let's spend a moment, Prashant, on the India Alliance. The 4th meeting of the India Alliance happened in New Delhi this week. In the way that the India Alliance is shaping up, where do you see this end up in terms of their hope of having one candidate of the opposition versus one candidate of the BJP in at least 400 seats? Do you see it come together, or do you think this will be all talk, a lot of bluster, and very little to show meaningfully in the end?
Well, first of all, this one candidate against BJP is, to my mind, it's a theoretical idea. If you see, in almost about 300 odd seats, there is already one candidate against BJP. So what you can achieve is probably additional 100 seats where you can cut down on some parties' vote share by 10, which is getting 10%, 15%, which could add to the advantage to those who are fighting with BJP, but I'm not so sure about it. So this whole idea that any alliance would ensure one candidate against BJP is largely a theoretical idea. Because say in Bengal, in Uttar Pradesh, if suppose in Uttar Pradesh Congress fights alone and Sapa fights alone, Congress gets 4-5% vote. That even if you bring them all both together, nobody knows for sure that that vote gets added. And even if it gets added, the margin of BJP victory in Uttar Pradesh is probably more than that. So I don't see, purely from the mathematical point of view, putting one candidate against BJP is a great idea, or it's something that can be the game changer. Practically, it's already happening in 300 seats, like in all Hindi heartland, most of the Hindi heartland, it is Congress which is taking on directly the BJP. So it's already 1-1. In West Bengal, it's TMC which is taking on BJP. It's already 1-1. In Uttar Pradesh, it is Sapa taking on BJP. Last time even BSP was in alliance. So it was already 1-1. So in Maharashtra, this India alliance is already in alliance together. It is going to be 1-1. So purely 1-1 is not going to be the game changer. As far as India alliance is concerned, I don't think this one effort on the part of opposition parties are going to be sufficient enough, at least not what we have seen till date, to defeat BJP. BJP is well ahead to my mind as of now, and if India alliance has to do well against BJP, they have to do dramatically something very different, something which probably we have not factored in right now. And also within India alliance, it is primarily the Congress which will be taking on BJP in more than 250 seats. They have to do very well in those 250 seats. If they get the strike rate of 30-40%, then only BJP can be defeated.
No, so what
unless
can be
Congress's
the game changer?
strike rate against India alliance, I'm telling you, unless Congress's strike rate, forget about India alliance, the end of the day, unless Congress's strike rate vis-a-vis BJP goes above 30%, there is no chance for any alliance against BJP, because it's Congress which is taking on BJP in 250 odd seats. Last time Congress's strike against BJP vis-a-vis BJP is less than 5%. Please take note of this. Whatever MPs Congress has won last time, they have won in Kerala, there was no BJP. They won in Tamil Nadu, they were not fighting BJP. They won in Punjab, there was no BJP. So bulk of the existing Congress MPs have come where Congress was not fighting BJP. So unless game changer is if Congress is able to defeat BJP where they are taking on BJP head on.
No, so what could that be? Is a cricketing analogy, it almost seems as if it's Afghanistan versus Australia, and we usually know how that ends. If you were coach and strategist of the Afghanistan team at this moment, do you have a strategy or at least the outline of what you think could be a potential game changer idea which breathes some life into the moribund Congress?
No, Congress, the strategy, I don't know, I am nobody to suggest them a strategy. The biggest strategy they need to take on table is they have to first accept that they are moribund. The problem is Congress is never ready to accept that fact. Whenever I have dealt with them 2 years back, now I am no longer dealing with them, but they simply, so long you continue to refuse and live in denial, you are not going to get better results. The problem is not that there is no better strategy to take on BJP. The problem is Congress doesn't want to accept that they are moribund and they need to do things differently. Exactly what I told you in Madhya Pradesh. BJP, despite all their might, they realized that they made mistake in Madhya Pradesh and they made the amends this time. Congress, despite the fact that they are moribund, they continue with the same strategy, same policy, same narrative, same chat, same approach. So obviously they are not going to get any advantage of it. So if I can give one piece of advice, I would say please accept that your organization in the large part of Hindi heartland is all but dead. Unless you accept it, you cannot make corrections.
That is a very important point, that accept that there is a problem, because the problem is staring you in the face. It keeps coming back to bite you, and yet the Congress at this moment doesn't seem to want to accept that. One of the ideas that's been thrown up this week is the idea of making Mallikarjun Kharge, the current Congress president, the prime ministerial face of the India alliance. Mamta Banerjee and Arvind Kejriwal have both suggested this idea. Do you see there is some traction there in this attempt to try and stitch the Dalits, the Muslims and some other communities together, depending on which party is in alliance but basically by projecting Mallikarjun Kharge as the prime ministerial face to take on Prime Minister Modi?
Well, Rahul, I'm a believer that if you do something right or wrong, it would have some impact. Say when India Alliance called themselves India instead of calling themselves UPA, definitely there has been a chatter, there was a buzz, but they stopped there. Similarly, if they announce a face, whether it is Mr. Kharge or somebody else, definitely it will add some more jing to what they are trying to do. But the irony here is that Mr. Kharge's name was proposed by Ms. Mamta Banerjee and Kejriwal. His own party did not necessarily back the idea. Mr. Kharge is the president of Congress. So if it would have proposed by Mamta Banerjee, Arvind Kejriwal and backed solidly by Congress, then it would have got merit to discuss. I do agree that if Mr. Kharge is made a prime ministerial face on the part of India Alliance, it would definitely add some, it would give some advantage to India Alliance because he is a tall leader, senior leader. How much, that I don't know, because he is from South India. And largely the battle with BJP is in North and the Hindi heartland. But definitely, rather than having no face, if you would have a face, it would have an advantage.
No, but can you try and quantify this? If you were strategizing this decision, what would be the vote share gain that you potentially attribute to the decision, if it's taken, of appointing Mallikarjun Kharge as the prime ministerial face of the India Alliance?
Well, any decision, if you appear to be tentative or unsure in taking that decision, it is not going to give you the result. What I'm trying to tell you that when they form the alliance, they have not been decisive. They are still struggling with the seats, narrative phases. When they are announcing the name, then there was only one moment then where they all appeared united, which was that was on renaming UPA to India, and that gave them the advantage. All over India, people are talking about the alliance being called India. But after that, they have been tentative on every strategic move, be it narrative, be it a common minimum program, be it seat sharing, be it the face. If Mr. Kharge or anybody else for that matter,
who do you think is best suited to be the prime ministerial face, Prashant? Who do you think is best suited to be the PM face?
Hear me out. No, I'm not here to do that. I am making a strategic comment here. Whoever you want to present as a face, it is important that you are decisive about that decision. In the case of Mr. Kharge, it again appears that some two important allies have made the suggestion, which is not necessarily backed fully by Congress. Mr. Kharge himself almost immediately backed out. So in that case, when the proposers of the name or the proposition are not sure, how do you expect the people to get galvanized with that idea?
One of the big themes of conversation post the results has been the supposed north-south divide. I interviewed the Home Minister Amit Shah, and he very strongly countered the idea of a north-south divide in this election. Do you, from your lens, see a north-south divide where the BJP isn't doing as well in the south? Or do you think this is just a very slippery slope that the opposition should not actually be going down?
See, one is the ethical and moral aspect to it, that one should not get into this north-south divide. But even if you look at hard data, it's not supportive of what people are saying. There is no north-south divide. If you look at data, BJP's performance has been lackluster in east and south of the India, starting from Bihar, where out of 40 they have got only 17. In Bengal, out of 42 they have got only 18. In Orissa, in Telangana, in Andhra, in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala. This is the zone, roughly about 220 odd Lok Sabha seats, where BJP has been less than 50 seats. And this has not emerged today. This was the case in 2014. This has been the case in 2019 as well. And I do not see it dramatically changing in 2024. The problem is not these 220 seats. BJP, whatever they get in these 220 seats, they are working hard to increase their number in these 220. But at the same time, the remaining 300 odd seats, that is where the problem lies for opposition. In those 300 seats, BJP is having more than 90% seats. So unless you defeat BJP in West and North, you can talk as much as you want to talk, it's not going to work. If only today, Congress or their allies are able to defeat BJP in 100 odd seats in North and West, not in Kerala, not in Telangana, if they are able to defeat them in 100 odd seats, that is 30% of the North and West number of seats, then these 200 seats where BJP is not doing well will come into play. Right now, if somebody has won Andhra or somebody has won Tamil Nadu, in absence of 100 seats coming from North and West, that they become literally redundant. They are not the force that they could have been if somebody would have won in North and West. So if you want to defeat BJP, formula is simple. Put all your energy, effort in North and West, where you defeat them in at least 1/3 of the seats. Then this East and South will come into play. Otherwise, you can keep talking theoretically whatever you want to talk. It's not going to work.
The other big debate has been around delimitation. And the Home Minister in that interview that I was referring to said that they won't let delimitation impact the electoral strength of the southern states. So while the overall number of Lok Sabha seats will go up, they'll ensure that the interests of the southern states are maintained, which I presume will mean that the percentage of seats from each state will roughly stay the same, even as the overall strength of the Lok Sabha goes up. Do you see delimitation in the next term of the Modi Sarkar, if there is one, being a major hot button issue, or do you think a way can be found to deal with this?
No, I think it's a commonsensical thing to punish southern states because they have done well on population control would be unfair to those states. And also politically, if BJP wants to expand in East and South, I don't think they are politically naive to antagonize people there by changing the proportion of the seats. So my not informed, but my guess is that proportion of the seats coming from each state would be maintained. However, because of the rise in population, number of seats will go up. But I do not see the proportion of seats coming from each state changing dramatically. That would not be the right thing to do. And I don't think any political formation, be it BJP or Congress, would be able to do that. Because if you do that, it will create a big north-south divide. Plus, it will also act as a kind of disincentive for those who have worked well, the states and the governments and the societies that have work on the population control and other developmental measures. It would appear as if they are being punished for doing right thing.
Let's spend some moment on the key political personalities. Rahul Gandhi is planning a east to west Bharat Jodo Yatra Part 2. Do you think his first Yatra bolstered his political fortunes to some extent? To what extent? Because you work with the man, you understand how his mind works. And now if he does this east to west Yatra, do you think he's being able to overcome the Pappu image, or do you think the brand is so damaged that it's very difficult to revive meaningfully, especially when the comparison is with somebody as formidable as Modi?
See, it has got nothing to do with how formidable Mr. Modi is. Globally, if you look in democracy, those who fight elections or those who are in public domain, there is a kind of life to any brand or any leader. If you are defeated once, twice, thrice, you cannot go on trying and hope that somebody, all of a sudden people will realize that, oh, you are the one who are going to change their fortunes. So to that extent, I do not see Rahul Gandhi being able to completely change and become the new messiah in the eyes of the people of this country. However, having said so, if he has made an effort like walking from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, definitely it would help him personally and otherwise, where people would have seen that at least he has made an effort. But as you have seen in the election results as well, the walking itself on its own would not result into better election results. If that would have been the case, then Congress would have won Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, at least one or two of them, because he walked more number of days in these states than he would have walked, say, in Telangana. But you can walk You can work with the public, it will always help. There's no two way about it. But whether it will result into electoral gain or not, for that you need to have lot other factors going in for you. You need the organization, you need the second rung leadership, you need the resources, you need the chatter, you need to need the narrative, you need the connect with the people, for people to translate, for your support to translate into vote, which to my mind I do not see for Congress anywhere. For example, he walked. Last 2 years almost, I've been living in villages of Bihar. I do not see any change in the perception of people vis-a-vis Rahul Gandhi or Congress in Bihar. So, or for that matter, UP. So, unless you have a supportive organizational strength and the narrative to go hand in hand with your personal effort, be it a walk or a Rath Yatra or any public contact, it's not going to give you electoral dividend.
Let's come now to Prime Minister Modi, who despite being in power for 9.5 years, has the highest approval ratings of any leader globally. You look at that Morning Consult tracker, it almost seems as if Prime Minister Modi is in his own zone and everybody else is playing a different kind of game, including someone like Joe Biden, who has been in power for just for about 4 years. So A, what explains his abiding popularity? Do you think this stays till the time Prime Minister Modi is around, or do you think it's almost impossible to say for sure and this could potentially change as well?
Rahul, I watched a program where you presented the same data to some panelists there, and some of the psephologists in your show say this shows this, that. It shows nothing. If you are a powerful leader of a big democratic setup as big as India, definitely you would have, the approval rating, part of it reflected in the global surveys as well. But I wouldn't draw any meaningful conclusion that how much his rating is outside India. If you remember, just for your viewers to recall, Mikhail Gorbachev was given a Nobel Prize, and the same year he was thrown out of the USSR at that time. As the country was disintegrating, he was the global leader. He was appearing as the global leader, messenger of peace and somebody who can change the world order. And he was thrown out in USSR. And I think Mr. Modi would know it better than anybody else, all of us, that these global ratings means nothing. His ratings in India is something which you should take note of. Yes, he has been popular, but it has got to do with both. One, he has been popular. Second, he has not had the challenger who can, put a counter narrative, or who can put the effort, who appears to be putting the effort to challenge Mr. Modi. I'm sure if you get somebody else who puts 5 years, the same Modi with the same strength, same strategy, would have a much lower rating than what he has today. A lot of people, I can tell you with my experience, in 2014 when people went to vote for Mr. Modi, a lot of people thought and really believed that this is the man who is going to change India fundamentally, and he is going to transform everything what Indians are suffering from. In 2019, a lot of those people again went and voted for Mr. Modi, but their chatter was, okay, he's trying, at least he's making an effort, he's a hard-working guy, his intent is right, let him give him another 5 years. When this time people will go and vote, what I sense is people are saying, okay, yes, he has not done dramatically very different things, he has not changed everything, but at least he is better than the others. Who is there? Who is better than him? So, the data is already, data and perception is already tilting. It's just that you are not noticing because there is no formidable challenge to him. But there is one data point I want to highlight just to buttress the same point what I have just said. In 2014, if Mr. Modi would have given a call, even in local panchayat elections, people voted on the call of Mr. Modi, the local bodies election, the Vidhan Sabha elections. And that is reflected in, but now I don't think he has got that kind of charisma. It is reflected in the vote, the data, because you're talking about data between 2014 to 2019. In all assembly elections put together, BJP's underperformance was close to 3 percentage point, meaning whatever they got in the Lok Sabha, in Vidhan Sabha, they got 3 percentage point lower. But between 2014 to 19, their underperformance is now high single digit. In many states, the BJP vote share in Lok Sabha versus Vidhan Sabha, their difference is 10-12 percentage point. That is showing that while people are still voting for Mr. Modi, they are not taking his word or his appeal to voters to vote for a political party or a leader as the gospel truth and as something which they want to follow blindly. So his brand and his capability to take vote is already coming down. Data, the beauty is you want to interpret it the way you want to interpret, you can always put it that way. But I see his popularity going down. He is no longer as formidable as he was in 2014. But yes, I still say he is still at the pole position. He still has the lead, primarily because there is no significant anger against him. There is a fatigue, but there is no anger. And more importantly, there is no challenger who is capturing the imagination of people by and large across Hindi heartland.
Now, one of the questions which everybody ponders over but nobody knows for sure is what happens when Prime Minister Modi hits the age of 75. He's often said that once you hit the age of 75, you should retire. However, if he does win his third term, he'd be midway through his third term, and there are conspiracy galore, theories galore in the BJP RSS circles of whether he'll give up what he's doing, head off to Kedarnath or some such place, or whether he'll stay on because he's been voted to power and continue till the end of his term at least. No one knows for sure, but I want to know what you think.
Well, Rahul, you knows it, I know it, the whole India knows it. He's going nowhere. If he wins, he continues to be the Prime Minister. No rules applies to him, not of this kind of rules. So this is like just a living room chatter. Sometimes people entertain themselves with this kind of fancy ideas. I do not see Mr. Modi leaving the chair so long he is voted by the people of India.
Okay.
Be it 75 or 80.
How do you see the issue of a post-Modi succession? There's a lot of chatter. You spoke about drawing room conversations, etc. How do you see that potentially play out?
Well, on succession, nobody can make a second guess. All of you, whole of India, all your pundits, surveyors, political analysts could not predict the succession in the states like Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. How do you expect any one of us to have an idea of who is going to succeed Mr. Modi? First of all, it's a little bit too premature. But one thing one can say for sure is the directionally which side it's going. If you look at, and for that you don't need to be a political analyst, just look at the BJP's leadership trajectory over last 20 years. It was Vajpayee and Mr. Advani. Vajpayee as a liberal face, Advani as a conservative face or hardliner. Then it became Mr. Advani and Mr. Modi. Now it is Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah. So directionally they are becoming a bit more closer to what they claim and they have their ideology is. So I see somebody, whoever replaces Mr. Modi, would appear to the large section of society a much more hardliner Hindutvadi than what Mr. Modi is.
Interesting. You're saying
the direction is very clear in my mind. That is where we are going.
You're saying that it seems certain from your perspective that whoever comes is likely to be more hardline, more pro-Hindutva than Prime Minister Modi. That's your sense?
Not sense. I can say this with all conviction at my command. This is going to be the trajectory. I do not see BJP having anyone in the leadership position of the party who would appear to be more liberal than what Mr. Modi is.
Okay, let's spend a moment talking about yourself. In the last few days that we've been discussing setting up this interview, from the schedule that I've understood that you're following, you leave early in the morning. Just before this interview, you had a community meeting as well. You're traveling through the length of Bihar every single day, going up quite late till 10:30, 11 at night. Where do you think this is all going? Because when I speak to top politicians in some parties, especially the BJP, they say, "Dhakke kha raha hai, lekin kuch niklega nahi hai." How do you see this build up and to what end?
Well, I have committed myself a few years to be in Bihar and do what I think could be the remedy for a lot of problems we face in this state. And this state has not, we are at the poorest, the most deprived lot in the whole of India. And I don't think by forming a political party, fighting elections, winning or losing is going to change Bihar. Bihar has seen Congress government, we have seen Lalu Nitish, we have also seen BJP. Even the 10 years of Mr. Modi in Delhi has not made a single difference as far as Bihar and the lives of people of Bihar is concerned. So I see the problem lies more on the side of the society. Unless society here understands and organizes themselves in a manner which are aligned to what they need in terms of governance, it's not going to change. And I'm trying to do the same thing. What BJP leaders say or what others are saying is none of my concern. If BJP leaders are so smart, they should have won Bihar. You know, in last 30 years, the fact is BJP is in Bihar, in last assembly election, their vote share was 19.6%. Just for your viewers and so-called top BJP leaders to understand, their vote share in Bihar in last assembly election was 19.6%. So who are they to claim about how much they know about Bihar? And in many states, wherever they have faced the strong challenge, they have crumbled like pack of cards. So, you know, for all the boasting and what they claim that they know everything, they know everything when they are facing Congress, not against other parties. So what I'm doing here is what I have set out for myself. I want to spend 2-3 years of my life trying to understand and organize the society here in the manner which could change fundamentally the way Bihar is perceived and the way we are governed. If we are successful, I think we would be able to see better days for ourselves. If not, then we will see. If BJP has a better plan, then they should do it. They are sitting in center. They have got, or their alliance got 39 MPs from Bihar. They did absolutely nothing for Bihar. So at least they should be the last one to be speaking about Bihar and the politics of Bihar, and they should be the last one to be speaking for people of Bihar.
Because it's a big question. Can a smart strategist be a good Jan Neta? I think what you do will answer that question in some ways, because the theory in political circle is...
Listen, Rahul.
To strategize is easy, to do actual netagiri is much tougher.
Okay, so a lot of people, when I started what you are calling political strategist, a lot of people said the same thing, that it's one thing to sit in the office and do computer number crunching and completely another thing to help someone win elections. And people laughed. You were the one who laughed at me in Bengal when I said that BJP will not cross 100. And you said that I'll be trolled, my life will be made miserable. They ended up 77. So unless you do something, how do you know what it's going to be like? If 10 years back in 2011, if I would have told that there is a domain called political strategy or Chunav Prabandhan or whatever you want to call it, all of you would have laughed, and I'm sure many BJP leaders would have laughed. But 10 years, once that space has proven to be creating some value addition, then people are taking it seriously. So what I'm doing here, you can laugh, and I'm very happy about it that you are laughing. I'm not making any...
No, I'm not laughing at all. No, one second. Anybody who works as hard... No, one second. Don't. You're now doing what a Neta does. You're twisting what I said. I never said I'm mocking what you're doing. I, in fact, appreciate effort and hard work, and I think you're making a lot of that. My only question is towards the outcome, because one theory, and I'm sure you've heard this, is he's building this base, and ultimately Prashant Kishor wants to merge with the BJP. Is that true, sir?
If I were to merge with the BJP, what is preventing me from today joining BJP? I am the one who have fought BJP. I have helped all the political parties to fight BJP. So, and as far as, let's stick to what Bihar could look like. I give you an example. When I walked 5 districts, this BJP, which is the forte of BJP, the strongest fort of BJP in Bihar is Champaran. There was a by-election, MLC by-election, and BJP was reduced to 400 votes, and a candidate supported by me, an independent Muslim guy, he has won with 4,000 votes. So all these leaders, and in that region, in 5 districts where I walked and we put this independent candidate, I'm not trying to say that this result is the reflection of the broad sentiment in Bihar, but what I'm trying to tell that from those 5 districts, there are 5 BJP MPs. Put together, they could not help win one MLC. Their candidate got 450 votes. All they got was 450 votes. And an independent candidate supported by Jan Suraj won with 4,000 votes. So at least, in India, no matter, I'm not saying that you are mocking, there's BJP leaders or whoever are mocking or trying to make light of what we are doing, that they are well within their right to do that. But at least no one would say that I don't understand politics. Whether I'm able to make sense of it or not, that's a different story. But don't at least give me at least that much, that I understand a little bit of politics more than most of these BJP leaders. Even their leaders would, in time of crisis, would like to hear what I am trying to say. The Kailash Vijayvargiya, who was the General Secretary of BJP in Bengal, he thought that he is winning 200 seats. Mr. Amit Shah thought that he is winning 200 seats when they were reduced to 77. And in the same Bihar, I must remind you, it's not only Bengal. The same people in 2015 made the similar claims. And we won with the Mahagathbandhan with almost 190 seats. BJP was reduced to 55. So BJP is not all-knowing, all invincible. Yes, at times when they are fighting with Congress, because Congress is weak, Congress is not able to take them on, they pretend as if they know everything and they are invincible. Let them fight the election in Bihar. When we will form the party here in 1 year time, let them fight and defeat, and then we will talk.
You think you can win the next Bihar assembly elections?
People of Bihar will win, and BJP will find it very difficult to digest the result of 2025 assembly election in Bihar. BJP will find it very difficult to digest. Take my word and write it down. Talk to me once the assembly election happens in 2025.
We'll save this. It will be epic if you can do it.
You save it. You save it. It's not about epic. The people of Bihar are so frustrated. Every BJP MP, but for the name of Mr. Modi, but for the fact that there is no alternative, each 17 out of 17 MPs in Bihar, I can bet 10 or more of them will lose elections. It's just the Modi factor. It's just that people are not, at any cost, they don't want to vote back Lalu Yadav. They don't see any alternative at India level, and that's why they, at the end, under compulsion, they vote for BJP. BJP must not take that as a kind of support for them. I am again repeating, BJP vote share in assembly in 2020 was 19.6%. So please ask the BJP leaders, they would not even know what is the vote share they got in assembly elections last time. And this is after ruling India 8 years. This is despite Modi, despite Amit Shah, despite Sangh, despite Hindutva, and despite Mr. Adityanath doing what he is doing in Uttar Pradesh. All that things put together, BJP got less than 20% vote in Bihar. So please, for God's sake, do not start propagating as if BJP is the force in Bihar, at least not in the state politics, in the context of state politics.
Are you open to the idea of working with the Congress again, or is there a chapter you've now closed?
Well, Congress is fighting elections this time under the leadership of Mr. Kharge and Rahul Gandhi, effectively Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and they have decided a path for themselves. After Lok Sabha, what happens, we don't know. But ideologically, I am more aligned to them than anybody else. That much I can tell you.
So you're leaving that window open. You're saying not till the Lok Sabha, that's too close, but post.
It's not about, I'm saying it is for Congress to decide. But it is not for me to decide. I am doing what I am doing. And ideologically, I am on the side which probably loosely would be represented by Congress.
Understood. You know, it's interesting you spoke about you unleashing this whole cottage industry of campaign managers, and you were the original rock star, Prashant. The one who, in very difficult odds, won Nitish Kumar Bihar 2015, helped Captain Amrinder Singh in 2017, and Mamta Banerjee in a very tricky and tough re-election helped Jagan Reddy. So you built your status there. Now there is a second campaign manager who also seems to be earning some stardom around him, Sunil Khonagulu. And the interesting thing is, you guys go back a long way. Sunil and you were part of Chief Minister Modi's campaign in 2013-14 when he was aiming to be Prime Minister. So what do you think of your style versus Sunil? He helped the Congress win a famous victory in Telangana recently, before that in Karnataka. Are we seeing now two master strategists emerge, two masters of the craft?
No. First of all, I am not a master strategist or anything. I have quit the space. And a lot of people, including Sunil and others, they have all worked with me, and I have great respect for them. And even when I was working with them, I used to say, and I have no hesitation in repeating it on camera, that many of those guys are far better than what I was, and they will do much better than what I have done. I have been just a normal person. I just all this rock star and all these things is the media creation. Many of those guys, almost like 20,000 youngsters who have worked with me, they have now doing what they think is right for their life, and many of them would, of course, get the success. And because they are talented people, they work hard, and some of them will be very successful. So there is no, and I feel good about it. I'm not competing with anyone because I'm not there. And there is a reason why I would have quit that space. My desire was not to be the rock star political strategist. I did what I did. I have quit that space. I'm doing what I'm doing right now. And I wish all my colleagues, ex-colleagues who are doing in different formations, in most of elections you would see now both sides, the incumbent and challenger are both helped by my colleagues, ex-colleagues. So for that matter, I am going to be, happy with success or loss any which way.
Okay, we'll leave it there. What a fascinating conversation this has been. One of the top thinkers around Indian politics sharing his insights. He very clearly is a partisan player. He's not even trying to deny it, but he's given you a glimpse of how he's thinking and what that could potentially mean. Prashant Kishor, this has been an absolutely riveting conversation. So much I learned and picked up about how you're thinking at this moment about the key political issues. For joining us on India Today's News Track, thank you very much. And I wish Jan Suraj all the very best. Because coming from the ground to make the effort that you have takes a lot of personal motivation. The jury is still out. You think you're winning Bihar 2025? The jury is still out. It's much easier to say that than to do it, but you are putting in the hard yards. And as is often...
I didn't say that. I didn't say that I'm winning. I'm saying people of Bihar are winning 2025 and all of you should be up for the surprise.
Okay, and you also said that there
BJP.
is a window which is open post the Lok Sabha elections of a possible rapprochement with the Congress, if the Congress wants it. Prashant's not denying it. So there's a lot to chew on and to bite on. For joining us from Darbhanga, thank you very much. Prashant Kishor, really appreciate your time and wish you all the best. Thank you, sir.
India, as you know, is a land of diversity, where countless stories are born every day. A brand that has celebrated the rich mosaic of our country, India Today, is the brand that has been covering stories from all spheres of life from across the country tirelessly, making sense of the myriad India and the Indians residing in here. The story of India Today and the story of my latest film, Donkey, which is inspired by the phenomenal dreams and struggles of the same Indians and is a story about love and friendship filled with humor and heart.
हमने मजबूरी में अपना घर छोड़ा था, वरना कोई अपना देश, अपना परिवार, अपने दोस्तों को छोड़कर क्यों जाएगा सरहदों पे गोली खाने?
While my film Donkey symbolizes the struggle of many who leave home and their loved ones behind in the hope for a better life, they miss their homeland in this tough bargain. But it's their spirit that helps them carry on. India Today has been capturing the indomitable spirit of being an Indian for over 5 decades now. India Today, making sense to India, making sense of India.
सस्पेंड कर दिए गए, बाहर निकल गए। मॉक पार्लियामेंट, यूथ पार्लियामेंट होती है, अलग अलग रोल प्ले होता है। मॉक पार्लियामेंट होती है, सड़क पे भी होती है, पंचायत में भी होती है, गांव में भी होती है। और मिमिक्री एक आर्ट है और उसमें हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी बेस्ट हैं। उन्होंने तो संसद में रिकॉर्ड पे, भाई कल्याण बनर्जी ने तो जो है सीढ़ियों पर किया। तो आर्ट को आर्ट रहने दो, उसको जात से और पद से मत जोड़ो, हर चीज में राजनीति मत करो। अपना फायदा उठाने के लिए, देश के असली मुद्दों को भटकाने के लिए इस तरीके की राजनीति मत करिए।
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
You're on board the news track. Members of the India Alliance today staged a protest march against the suspension of opposition MPs in Parliament. They've also called an all-India protest tomorrow. The question is whether the opposition allies will be able to gather traction on the street. They're thinking at this moment that the government is acting unfairly and unjustly. How much response will that all-India protest see? Here's the story.
जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में है वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में वो ना कहें.
A session in Parliament. With opposition benches almost deserted, the Lok Sabha approved a bill aimed at regulating the appointment of top officials in the Election Commission. 146 suspended MLAs from the opposition taking to the streets to protest their expulsion from Parliament, marking the remainder of a frozen winter session. Brandishing placards, the opposition leaders accused the Modi government of undermining democracy.
सरकार ये नहीं चाहती, मोदी जी ये नहीं चाहते और सदन के मुखिया है वो भी नहीं चाहते कि सदन चले.
The India Alliance organized a march around the new Parliament building in New Delhi.
He is giving a speech and 125-30 people are watching it and they are shouting slogans. This is really, it is, this shows that they don't have faith in democracy. They don't want discussion, debate.
The suspended MPs, of them 100 from the Lok Sabha and 46 from the Rajya Sabha, were alleged to have disrupted proceedings while demanding a debate on last week's security breach in Parliament. The opposition coalition has planned another protest on Friday at Delhi's Jantar Mantar.
For last 75 years, if you pick up placards and protest, when have you had 141 suspensions? This is a disgrace it's an insult to Indian democracy, the world's largest. It's a murder of democracy.
In response, the BJP staged its own protest over suspended TMC MP Kalyan Banerjee's mimicry of the Rajya Sabha chair.
उनके अलायंस के कई घटक दलों ने जो उपराष्ट्रपति महोदय का जो एक किसान का बेटा है, ये किसानों का भी अपमान है, उनके समाज का भी अपमान है, संवैधानिक पदों पे बैठे हुए व्यक्तियों का अपमान है और इसका खामियाजा राहुल गांधी को और कांग्रेस को और अलायंस को भुगतना पड़ेगा.
This bitter political standoff has rendered the country's parliament without an opposition presence during the ongoing session, legislating without the usual discussions and deliberations. Bureau Report, India Today.
This is where we wrap up the news track tonight. For your time and your trust, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye, good night.
सदस्य विरोध में ना गए, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्षों प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत विधेयक यथा संशोधित पारित हुआ.
The Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, and the Bharatiya Sakshya Bill. The new laws to replace the British-era criminal law is passed by the Lok Sabha by voice vote. With 143 MPs suspended, the opposition benches were mostly empty when the debate on the bill took place on Wednesday. Home Minister Amit Shah claimed the new laws are citizen-centric, unlike the colonial-era code.
मोदी जी ने प्रधानमंत्री बनने के बाद गुलामी की मानसिकता और गुलामी के सारे चिन्ह इस देश में से जल्दी मिट जाए और नए आत्मविश्वास के साथ महान भारत की रचना का रास्ता प्रशस्त हो, इस पर आग्रह रखा है। ब्रिटिश काल की गुलामी के सारे चिन्ह समाप्त कर इस संपूर्ण भारतीय कानून।
So what will change once the bills become law? Here are the good bits. First information report or FIRs can be filed in any police station but in the same state or union territory where the crime is committed. The police must complete probe within 180 days. Courts will frame charges within 60 days and give verdict in 30. Under trials will be eligible for automatic bail after serving half their sentence. There will be a witness protection scheme for witnesses in sensitive cases. Women victims of crimes like rape can give testimony at home and their identity will be protected. There will be mandatory video recording of police searches. Now the concerns. Police can seek 15-day custody of suspect anytime within 60 to 90 days of arrest, depending on the offence. Currently, the police can get 15-day custody from the date of arrest.
The dreaded terrorist, drug lord, underworld don from Dongri, Dawood Ibrahim. Even after becoming a fugitive, keeps tracking his friends and family members in Mumbai. In a telephone conversation intercepted by the intelligence team, Dawood Ibrahim can be heard talking to his father, Ibrahim Kaskar's friend and former neighbor, Majid Kalia. The Don addresses him as uncle.
वालेकुम सलाम। चाचा कैसी तबीयत है? तबीयत ठीक नहीं बेटा। क्या बात है? आवाज एकदम नरम है। दाऊद बोल रहा हूँ। दाऊद। हाँ बोल। अच्छा क्या हो गया? डॉक्टर को दिखाए? हाँ डॉक्टर चालू दवा। हनीफ ये लोग किधर है? हनीफ और फारूक? हनीफ अभी काम पे जाता है। और आरिफ? आरिफ ने कुछ करता है। क्या हुआ? पहचान नहीं? आवाज पहचान नहीं रहे? नहीं। अरे दाऊद बोल रहा हूँ चाचा। दाऊद की आवाज नहीं है। अरे हाँ मेरी आवाज है चाचा। हाँ मेरी आवाज है। तुम चच्ची को दो, चच्ची को दो।
Dawood Ibrahim fled the country in the late 80s and shifted base to UAE first. After 1993 Mumbai serial blasts, he left UAE and took refuge in Karachi's security zone of Clifton. But he never stopped keeping in touch with his fellow people. Dawood's gang is called Company because the Don always takes care of all his people, their families, and the network spread across to his family, friends and neighbors like Majid Kalia and his wife. To make these calls, Dawood uses voice-over internet protocol. It helps him to hoodwink surveillance by the intelligence forces. With Divyesh Singh in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today.
Today Group sweeps the ITA 2023 awards. From Best English News Channel, India Today TV.
Popular English News Channel, the award goes to India Today.
To Best Hindi News Channel, Aaj Tak.
Popular Hindi News Channel, and the award goes to Aaj Tak.
And Best Documentary OTT from Best Talk Show.
Best Chat Show, Rajdeep Sardesai.
To Best Male Anchor.
The award goes to Rahul Kanwal, News Track.
And the ultimate ITA Scroll of Honor for Nari Shakti, exemplary leadership.
It gives me the greatest possible pleasure that Aaj Tak and India Today have once again been judged India's most popular channels at the ITA Awards. As someone who lives and breathes these channels, this honor is a real affirmation. Yes, there's a lot of pressure on us, and the pressure is yours. We always want to be bigger, better, faster, and more for you, our viewer.
Once again, the gold standard wins. Most trusted, most awarded. India Today, India's maximum channel.
Presented by JK Tyre Ranger Series. Stay wild at heart.
Co-presented by Star Health Insurance, the health insurance specialist. Co-presented by
New Kia Sonet, the wild reborn.
Good evening, hello and welcome to the News Today, your primetime destination news, newsmakers, talking points. Tonight the big story is coming in from the Brij Bhushan Singh saga, where there is a new twist that has led to our wrestlers in tears. Among my guests who will join me is Vijinder Singh. He will tell us why he's angry. Also, we will continue our debates on the new criminal law brought into Parliament. Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Pinky Anand are among my guests tonight. And we have a special for you. Manipur MLA Bunzagin Walte will be joining me on a special, a pre-Xmas special with a man who symbolizes Manipur's continuing tragedy. Plenty on the show tonight, but first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. 3 soldiers are killed in action in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri anti-terror operation on after 2 army convoys are ambushed. 3rd major ambush in Rajouri in this last 1 year alone. Brij Bhushan Saran Singh's close aide Sanjay Singh gets elected to the wrestling body's top post, sparking off protests from the women wrestlers. Sakshi Malik says she's hanging up her boots, quits wrestling. 3 more opposition MPs suspended. Total suspensions at 146 as Parliament is adjourned. Sine die. India bloc protest claims this has been a murder of democracy. The contentious CEC bill passed in the Lok Sabha in the absence of suspended opposition MPs. Government gets the final say to appoint a chief poll officer with a panel of the Prime Minister, Union Minister and leader of the opposition. 3 new criminal reforms to replace colonial era laws also passed in the Lok Sabha in the absence of 46 suspended opposition MPs. Rajya Sabha adjourned sine die. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal skips a second ED summons in the Delhi Liquor Gate probe, calls the summons illegal and politically motivated. Another big setback for the DMK Stalin Minister K. Ponmudi, sentenced to 3 years jail term in an illegal assets case. BJP hits out, says DMK steeped in corruption. 87 Kuki-Zo victims buried in Manipur's Churachandpur district amidst tight security. Thousands pay tribute to Manipur's ethnic violence victims. Left government versus Governor Arif Khan in Kerala escalates. Khan claimed Chief Minister hired goons to attack his convoy. Chief Minister accuses Governor and Congress of trying to disrupt peace. But the news that's breaking at the very top is disturbing. 3 soldiers have been killed in action in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri. 2 army vehicles have been ambushed and at least 3 soldiers killed. 3 have been injured. The incident taking place at 3:45 p.m. This afternoon. 2 army vehicles were carrying troops. They were moving to the operational site when they were fired upon by terrorists. The fire was retaliated upon in the ongoing operation. 3 of the soldiers sustained fatal injuries, 3 non-fatal casualties. The operation is still in progress. Importantly, this is the 3rd ambush in Rajouri area in this year alone. Sunil G. Bhatt joins me for the very latest. Sunil, give us the latest update on what's been happening.
Well, Rajdeep, terrible news coming in from the border district of Rajouri. The security forces had a specific input that there was presence of terrorists in Dera Ki Gali area in Thana Mandi Tehsil of Rajouri district, and based on that specific input, a massive search and cordon operation was launched by the security forces late last night. This evening, the security forces managed to establish contact with the terrorists and reinforcements were being sent to the operation site. Unfortunately, 2 of those vehicles which were carrying our soldiers, these 2 vehicles were targeted by the terrorists. They fired upon these 2 vehicles. Unfortunately, we have lost 3 of our brave hearts in this anti-terror operation. 3 soldiers are injured. They have been rushed to the hospital for the treatment. But Rajdeep, last time also when we spoke, I told you that there has been a change in strategy as far as Pakistan is concerned and terrorists are concerned. They are now focusing on the hilly regions of Jammu region. There was a time when these twin border districts of Rajouri and Poonch were severely affected by terrorism, but because of the hard efforts of security forces, these areas became terror free. But once again, terror is raising its ugly head in these areas. And why is Pakistan focusing on these areas? Is the reason behind is that this is a densely forested area. It's surrounded by tall mountains, and it's a very challenging area for the security forces. It becomes very challenging for security forces to carry out anti-terror operation. And as per the security establishment, there are 15 to 20 terrorists present in the twin border districts of Rajouri and Poonch. They are hiding in the upper reaches, and that is why anti-terror operations have been going on in these 2 districts for last 2 years.
Okay. Sunil Bhattji, with lots of details there, worrying there how Rajouri has become a new epicenter for terrorism in Kashmir. Let's turn from there to our top story tonight. Brij Bhushan Saran Singh, the MP of the BJP from Gonda, and a man who has been in the eye of the scanner since the start of the year after women wrestlers, including Olympic winning wrestlers, claimed that he was responsible for sexually harassing them. Well, today there was another twist in the tale because a close aide of Brij Bhushan Saran Singh has won the Wrestling Federation elections. Soon after, wrestler Sakshi Malik hung up her boots, announcing a dramatic retirement tearfully from wrestling. As I said, Brij Bhushan is the man accused of sexual harassment by multiple female wrestlers. Take a look at our top story.
Months of agitation against ex-WFI chief Brij Bhushan Saran Singh, and it all came down to tears for the protesting wrestlers. One of Brij Bhushan's own men, Sanjay Kumar Singh, emerged victorious on result day, sparking celebrations in the Brij Bhushan camp.
ये फेडरेशन अपने लिए नहीं चुनी जाती है, देश के खेल को बढ़ाने के लिए चुनी जाती है। और मैं ये उम्मीद करता हूं कि 11 महीने के अंदर जो कुश्ती का नुकसान हुआ है, खेल की गतिविधि बंद है, नई फेडरेशन तुरंत इस गतिविधि कुश्ती की गतिविधि को शुरू करे और जो नुकसान हुआ है उसका भरपाई करे। और ये मेरी जीत नहीं है, देश के पहलवानों की जीत है।
A huge setback for the wrestlers who made allegations of corruption and sexual assault against Brij Bhushan Saran Singh, and had vehemently opposed to Singh's candidature for the president's post, given his close ties with the ex-chief.
अगर प्रेसिडेंट ब्रिजभूषण जैसे आदमी जैसा ही रहता है, उसका जो उसका बिल्कुल सहयोगी है, उसका बिजनेस पार्टनर है, वो अगर इस फेडरेशन में रहेगा तो मैं अपनी कुश्ती को त्यागती हूँ और मैं आज के बाद कभी भी आपको वहाँ नहीं दिखूंगा।
क्या लेना देना भाई अपने छोड़ने की बात
While there are celebrations in one camp, the other feels hard done by. The wrestlers sought justice and they feel that it's been denied. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Let me go to my first guest tonight, and he is also an Olympic bronze medal winner, Winder Singh, boxer, who also contested as a member of Parliament, joins me now. Winder दी, आपने देखा होगा आज साक्षी मलिक रो पड़ी. The wrestler has cried और कहा कि अब वो रेसलिंग नहीं करेगी. जिस तरह से ये रेसलिंग फेडरेशन के चुनाव हुए और ब्रिजभूषण शरण सिंह का खास आदमी जीता है, संजय सिंह, क्या लगता है जो तस्वीर आपने देखी साक्षी रोते हुए? As an athlete, how do you respond?
जी एज ए प्लेयर होने के नाते सर बहुत बुरा लगता है, बिकॉज काफी संघर्ष के बाद उस मुकाम तक पहुंचा जाता है, जैसे कि ओलंपिक मेडलिस्ट, कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स में मेडलिस्ट, एशियन गेम्स मेडलिस्ट, जितने भी टूर्नामेंट थे वो सब खेल चुके, सबके सब जीत चुके हैं. उसमें साक्षी भी है, विनेश भी है, बजरंग भी है. और जब साक्षी ने कहा कि वो ओलंपिक या कुश्ती को छोड़ देगी, जिस तरह से चुनाव प्रक्रिया हुई है, तो आई थिंक ये बहुत गंभीर मसला है. और आई थिंक ये कहीं ना कहीं सवाल उठाता है हमारी जो लोकतांत्रिक जो सरकारें चलती हैं, जैसे न्याय प्रक्रिया है, उसके ऊपर बहुत सारे सवाल उठाता है कि ये कैसे हो गया सब चीजें. तो लेकिन एक खिलाड़ी होने के नाते हम कर भी क्या सकते हैं, व्हाट वी कैन डू सर, ये बिकॉज ये सब वोट का काम है और वोट के थ्रू सब चीजें चलती हैं.
नहीं, यही तो मुसीबत है. चुनाव हुए, अब ब्रिजभूषण शरण सिंह और उसके खास आदमी चुनाव जीत गए हैं. एथलीट्स विल हैव टू एक्सेप्ट इट. क्या आपको लगता है कि हमारे फेडरेशंस इसी तरह से चलते हैं कि जिसके हाथ में सत्ता है, ताकत है, दोज नेताज विन, और स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन की कोई सुनवाई तो नहीं होनी है डिस्पाइट ऑल दीज प्रोटेस्ट एंड एलिगेशंस ऑफ सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट?
नहीं सर, बॉक्सिंग का भी देख लीजिए. बॉक्सिंग का भी जो चलाते हैं स्पाइसजेट के ओनर है जय सिंह जी, वो भी आपको मालूम है सर. जो टेबल टेनिस है वो भी कौन चलाता है. क्रिकेट का तो आप सबको मालूम ही है सर. और लेकिन सर मैं नहीं मानता कि सब लोग बुरा चलाते हैं, कई लोग अच्छा भी चलाते हैं. लेकिन जब तक वो खिलाड़ियों की उनके परेशान नहीं करते तब तक सब चीजें ठीक है. हमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, किसी से कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, हमें कोई किसी से बैर नहीं है. लेकिन सर दिक्कत तब आती है जब वो एक कहते कि डिक्टेटर की तरह बिहेव करते हैं, बिकॉज दे शोइंग देयर मनी पावर, दे शोइंग देयर कि भैया पॉलिटिक्स की पावर, कि भैया मेरे से ऊपर कोई नहीं है, मैं हूँ. बिकॉज हमने हमारी टाइम भी सर बहुत सारे जो बॉक्सिंग जब थे हमारे, तो प्रेसिडेंट वो भी पॉलिटिशियन होते थे, बट उन्होंने कभी परेशान नहीं किया कि हम तुम ये करो, तुम ऐसे करो. उन्होंने कभी सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट या कुछ किस तरह के भी आपके भी सुनने को नहीं दिया. और फिर एक सवाल सर मैं आपसे पूछता हूँ सर, आपने तो बहुत अच्छी तरह से कवर किया है जब कांग्रेस की सरकार थी, और तब इस तरह का कोई एलिगेशन किसी फेडरेशन पर लगता तो सरकार कैसे काम करती? बिकॉज आपको मैंने बहुत करीब से देखा, तो आप बताइए सर, इस सवाल का जरूर जवाब दीजिए.
नहीं, विजेंद्र जी आप कह रहे हैं मोदी सरकार वर्सेस कांग्रेस सरकार, लेकिन आपकी बात सुनकर कोई कहेगा विजेंद्र तो कांग्रेस पार्टी से चुनाव लड़ा था. इन 2019 यू कॉन्टेस्टेड फ्रॉम दिल्ली. अब ये कहा जा रहा है साक्षी मलिक को अब कांग्रेस लड़ा सकती है हरियाणा से. तो एक तरह से ये जो लड़ाई है हैज बिकम बीजेपी बनाम कांग्रेस, मोदी सरकार वर्सेस कांग्रेस, रादर देन एथलीट्स वर्सेस ब्रिजभूषण सिंह. क्या ये प्रोटेस्ट जो है अब पूरी तरह से राजनीतिक बन गया है और भी बनेगा?
सर ये हर एक सिक्के के दो पहलू होते हैं. और राजनीति आपको ही मालूम है सर, हर जगह पे है. कौन कहता कि कहाँ नहीं है सर, ये बताइए मेरे को पहले तो. और नंबर वन, वो कहते कि टिकट लेगी नहीं लेगी, फ्यूचर का किसको मालूम सर, क्या हुआ, क्या पता बीजेपी चुनाव लड़ ले, फिर क्या हुआ सर. तो उसकी भी तो गारंटी दो ना. अभी कल मेरे को कहते भी मैं कांग्रेस से हूँ, कल मैं किसी दूसरी पार्टी से चुनाव लड़ दूं, तब उसका क्या होगा कि फिर दूसरी पार्टी देगी। सर ये चेंज कर रहे हैं सर, जो असली मसला है, खिलाड़ियों का मसला है, उनको परेशान करने का मसला है, उनके साथ सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट का मसला है, उससे ध्यान भटका के आपको कांग्रेस वर्सेस उसमें कर देते सर, बीजेपी में वो लग गए, उसके बाद वो सब चीजें चलती रहती हैं। वो कहिए भैया तुमने ऐसे ही किया था, तुम